If you have not yet lost money in this volatile stock market, count your blessings. Every day it seems the market drops, then comes back a bit, and then another dramatic drop, and it comes back again based on what? Little more than some quote in the news? What if you could lock in 50% of your gains when the stock market goes up, but your principal is protected when the market goes down? You can. Learn how with a call to Dan White of Dan White and Associates. Dan has helped hundreds of families just like yours retire comfortably. He can help you too. Why take unnecessary risks at this stage of the game? Lock in your stock market gains and sleep a whole lot better. Call Dan White now at 888-690-8820. 888-690-8820. Call Dan White, Dan White and Associates. 888-690-8820.
The following segment is sponsored by Daniel A. White and Associates and does not necessarily reflect the views of this station or Forever Media Incorporated. Rick Jensen on 1150 AM, 1017 FM, WDEL.
I've known Dan for many, many years. I'm also a client, too. I just love talking to the guy. He always has a lot of great information for you. As a financial planner specializing in retirement income, plus he's a big-time Phillies fan. Hey, Dan.
How you doing, Rick?
Good. So before we get to the important part, what's the magic number now for the Phillies?
Magic number, I believe, is about 87, maybe 88. They already got 5 wins on the books, so if they get to 92, 93 wins, they'll probably be in the playoffs.
Good job. I should have brought my bell. You know, I didn't bring my bell. They're this early in the season asking what the magic number is. You know? Only a super fan like you would actually be doing the numbers, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, they lost their first one last night, so hopefully they'll get back on track this afternoon.
Look, it's a tough division. The Mets are tough. The Nationals are tough.
Yeah.
You know?
Very tough. It's probably the toughest division in baseball, so.
There you go. And so, always a Phillies fan. Oh, it's the toughest division in baseball. Oh, we can't expect to win everyone, you know? The laments of the Phillies fans. So, as a financial...
We do have a bullpen. We do have a bullpen this year, so that's the good news.
Nice, right?
Yep.
I know. Someone said that, and I kind of looked at him and said, oh, what, the 4 aces are back? Ouch.
I wouldn't go that far.
No. No, it's bad. It's bad. Yeah, it's bad juju for me to say something like that. All right. Yes. Now, last year, so many changes for so many people, so many businesses, including yours, which affects everybody on the planet when it comes to filing your taxes, when you file. And what about required minimum distributions from inherited IRAs, things like that from people retire and all. And now, sadly, too many families saw death last year and even the year before the pandemic, too, with all these changes. So I'm wondering now, who has to take the year-of-death required minimum distribution? I know it's a terrible thing to have to think about for too many families now, but it really is something they have to keep in mind, right?
Yeah, it really is. And before I get into that, Rick, I just want to say, it might seem like we spend a lot of time on a weekly basis on these required minimum distributions, and we do, and for the simple fact that I can't tell you how many mistakes we see on an ongoing basis. We've got somebody coming in later this week where they have an inherited IRA. They've had it for 7 years. They've yet to take a required minimum distribution.
Now, just wait. Yeah. Now, let's use easy numbers because, me. So let's say it's $100,000. And let's say the required minimum distribution is $100. Okay,
I'd say it's $5,000.
Could it be that much, really, for $100,000?
It could be, yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. So it's so it's your numbers. This is your game. We'll play by your rules. So it's $100,000, and the minimum distribution is $5,000. They haven't taken any out for 7 years.
Correct.
All right. So what could that possibly mean?
Well, the penalty is, if you don't take the RMD, the penalty is 50%. So if it's $5,000, you got to write a check for $2,500. That's 7 years. That's about $17,000 you're going to have to write the IRS.
Yeah, it's $35,000 and $1,750. I mean, you're right there. Oh my gosh,
so,
and that's money that they could have.
This is why we spend as much time on RMDs. People don't know these rules, and this is where you get into trouble. But To get back to your question, the Year-of-Death RMD. So last year, as you know, they were waived, but they're back for 2021. And this includes the RMD for the year of death of the IRA owner. And the rules here can be tricky, and this one comes up a lot. So it's an all too common scenario, and especially last year it might have happened. An IRA owner passed, they're over 70 and a half or 72, depending upon the year, and they're required to take an RMD, but before they took it, they died. So who has to take the year-of-death RMD? Well, the answer is actually pretty straightforward. If the year-of-death RMD has not already been taken by the IRA owner, the beneficiary has to take it. It's not paid to the estate unless the estate is the beneficiary. So the IRS has confirmed this, and the estate, so by law, the minute the IRA owner dies, the balance in the IRA belongs to the beneficiary, not the estate. And the estate could have different beneficiaries than those listed on the IRA beneficiary designation form. So it doesn't matter what the will says. The will could say, hey, I leave everything to my 3 kids. But if the IRA says, hey, I'm leaving it to my girlfriend, then the girlfriend is the beneficiary. So the beneficiary is responsible for taking the year-of-death RMD, and they would have to pay the tax on the year-of-death RMD as well.
What if they don't find out that a beneficiary? I guess that has happened. What?
Well, that's why it's important to keep, anything that has any retirement account, it's important to keep those beneficiaries up to date as well, because you just, you never know when your time is up.
I wonder how successful lawsuits are when the kids say, wait, you give it to her?
Yeah, well, again, the beneficiary form is going to rule over everything else. There's been Supreme Court rulings on this. Unless if it's an IRA, you can name anybody. If it's a 401k or an ERISA-controlled plan, then the spouse is the beneficiary unless the spouse signs a waiver. But with IRAs, you can name anybody. I mean, it doesn't matter if you're married, not married. You can name the postman for all intents and purposes. It doesn't matter.
Which is what producer Randy has done. He's willed his lawnmower to the mailman. By the way, mail carrier. Producer Randy has a question for you.
Yes, Dan, if somebody inherits an IRA and they're, say, hypothetically 53 years old, do they have to do that required distribution, or do they have to wait till they're at retirement age?
Yeah, so that's something people screw up all the time, too. So it depends. The correct answer, Randy, is it depends on when the person died. If the person died before, let me get this right here, January 1st of 2020, then you're under the old rules before the Secure Act, and you are required to take a distribution the year after the account owner died and every year thereafter. But if they died after January 1st of 2020, anytime after that, you don't have to take it, and now you're under the new rules. So there's a 10-year, it has to be empty in 10 years, but there's no required minimum distribution for the 10 years other than the fact that by the end of the 10 years, the account has to be empty.
Let's say they died in 2019. Can that person just say...
2019. Yeah, 2019. If you died in 2019, the beneficiary was supposed to take an RMD in 2020. However, they were waived.
Yes, you didn't have to in 2020.
You didn't have to.
Yeah,
but now in 2021, that beneficiary will have to take an RMD from that account.
What if he just wanted to cash the whole thing out? Is that stupid, or...?
Yeah.
Well, it depends on the size of the account. I mean, if it's a $500,000 account, yeah, it's pretty stupid. You got to pay tax on $500,000.
Yeah. What if it's 20?
If it's 20 grand, well, again, what I would look at is what tax bracket are you in, and is that 20 grand is that extra income going to push you up into a higher bracket?
Sounds like you need to call 888-690-8820, Randy. 888-690-8820.